Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now March 12th of 2022, and as we get closer to the official release date of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series on May 25th, a lot of Star Wars fans around the world are very much excited to see exactly what else George, John, Dave, and director Deborah Chow as well have in store for the Star Wars universe ahead. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do make sure to post a couple of entertaining things and also really make sure to interact with you guys further. So it's even all the more exciting about the future of the Star Wars universe is that not only are we getting close to the Kenobi show, but we're also getting close to The Mandalorian Season 3 that's all set and ready to debut by this holiday season. You know, when you think about it, it's really not all that far away. And Mando Season 3 is going to be a very special season, as Dave Filoni once said, that the Force is going to be very strong with that addition. And that really does bring a lot of questions to the table exactly. Now, we already know that a lot of Legends characters are going to be making their way into Mando Season 3 and how that ties directly into the Ahsoka Tano series. In fact, Rosario Dawson will be involved in the show as Ahsoka Tano to set things up for the Ahsoka Tano series, which, by the way, is going to take place both in present time and will actually go back and forth with flashbacks. So, with that being said, however, when it all comes down to creator George Lucas, we already know that George Lucas, of course, has been a very busy man lately with John and Dave Filoni, and exactly what they're up to with the mandoverse and other new Star Wars eras that are going to take place within the Star Wars timeline. Now, when we look at everything related to George and exactly what the Disney board members are actually going through right now, with Kathleen Kennedy as the president of Lucasfilm, there's a lot of things happening as you know it. Now, one thing in particular has to do with them and actually having a plan to really make things right. Now, with both Disney and Lucasfilm now focused on their new Star Wars projects, such as Star Wars Ahsoka and The Bad Batch Season 2, creators Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are actively developing The Mandalorian Season 3 that will create tons of new characters and bring back many ones from Legends. Now, it's described, however, that recently many changes have been made behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm in order to regulate the franchise. However, it's described that one of the big plans by Disney has to do with the firing of Kathleen Kennedy from, of course, Lucasfilm and bringing in George Lucas as the new president of the company in an unexpected way for the fandom that is planned to all begin by early 2023. Now, the plan by Disney CEO Bob Chapek is to let go of Kathleen Kennedy by the end of December that will go into full effect by early 2023, where George Lucas is planned to take over the business end for a handful of months before Disney finally figures out a permanent solution as to who they are actually going to make the permanent Lucasfilm president. Now, further, it's noted, however, that there is much more, of course, to it than just that for this plan with Lucas becoming president of Lucasfilm for quite some time, as he has planned to expand the roadmap of Star Wars himself and rearrange certain aspects of the Star Wars timeline of new projects that are indeed in development. So, one thing about George Lucas that I think a lot of fans absolutely need to know is that the main reason in the very beginning, in the first place, as to why he gave away Lucasfilm to Disney and sold it, is he was just so tired. He didn't really feel like working on 3 new movies and taking up another portion of his life to focus on, films and such around those lines. He wanted to focus more on his life. And that's perfectly understandable. I mean, George was a very busy man with the originals, with the prequels. It takes a lot of time writing those things and filming those things, and he also did a handful of other movies out there that weren't really associated with Star Wars, but I digress. The fact that they have this plan in place, Disney's board members and Bob Chapek, the CEO, of replacing Kennedy by late of this year, 2022, and how that's going to go into full effect by early next year, and how George Lucas will be implemented as the temporary solution as the new president of Lucasfilm, handling the roadmap of new Star Wars TV shows. Now, we're going to get into that in just a second and exactly what that really means for the fans. So, the big deal about all of this as well, further, of course, is that Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy is said to be very well aware of this entire situation and is not happy about it one bit, and believes that this is being done in order to actually save the Star Wars franchise. Now, Chapek and the Disney board members are getting ready to make this huge announcement by this fall, where they will actually be able to figure out a format of how they will present this to the fans. Back in 2021, however, Chapek was actually forced to praise Kathleen Kennedy, as they had nobody, of course, that wanted to fill in for the role as president of Lucasfilm at the time, where they wanted to take over Kathleen Kennedy's role right away, and then it created complications in their initial plan to let her go in late 2021. So that really does explain a lot more as to why Kathleen Kennedy was not let go in late 2021. Nobody really wanted to fill in for the role of Lucasfilm's president. And, you know, a lot of people don't want to really take on that responsibility, and I can understand that to some extent. I think that obviously when you look at somebody like Kathleen Kennedy, for a prime example, she likes to do this because this is the opportunity for herself to push her own agenda. It's the opportunity for herself to do as she pleases. And we have all seen what she did to George Lucas by backstabbing him. You know, we can never forget that famous 2013 interview where she promised George to take care of all those characters, all those locations, all of those stories and legends. And she did the complete opposite. And that wasn't the first time that she backstabbed George Lucas. She did it again in The Rise of Skywalker with other promises that were made and reversed some of those promises. A lot of that had to do with specific scenes that were either partially filmed or fully filmed for the movie that were cut from the movie. One of which, of course, involved actor Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. And that's exactly why George Lucas did not show up at the world premiere for The Rise of Skywalker. He was a no-show. Nobody saw him at all, and everybody was wondering, where on earth is he? So, moving on from this, now further, of course, Chapek is also able to make some creative calls on all of this, and is allowing George Lucas to also make creative calls on many of the major Star Wars TV shows in the pipeline for 2024 to 2025, when he is actually in the president's seat. Now, of course, that will be used while he runs the company temporarily. Now, the plan by Disney is to essentially rework many of the employees that work over at Lucasfilm. Disney is already planning to actually hire newer and better talent for the franchise, specifically those that understand Lucas's vision the best in order to create new and honest universe of Star Wars. So far, Disney is struggling with the Acolyte series by Kathleen Kennedy, and it's costing them mostly, of course, a lot of money every single month, as they kept on having to actually do rewrites and building entire new set pieces for the rewrites of the story. Chapek is already giving Kennedy an ultimatum about the Acolyte TV show. So once again, the Acolyte TV series is another example as to how Kathleen Kennedy has no idea to run a company or to run the Star Wars universe. This is a show that's going to go pretty much completely in the different direction of what George Lucas would do with Star Wars. She's not even going to pay attention to the philosophy of the franchise. She is doing her own complete thing that is basically going to be science fiction with, of course, the Star Wars label slapped on top of it. Now, of course, there will be lightsabers in there, but it's not going to be used in the Star Wars way. It's going to be used in a different way. And that's one thing that I think a lot of fans are a little worried about, is exactly what the Acolyte show could do to the momentum of the positivity of the new Star Wars universe and the Star Wars community. So, anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding on the one from night to morning.